This video is going to show you how to fill in a form and send things off for electronic signatures. From Transaction Desk, your main dashboard, you're going to open your transaction. Then you're going to decide what you want to send for signatures. So first you want to look at your forms themselves and make sure they're ready to go. So just so you know, I went ahead and filled in a couple forms, but I saved one for us to work on together. So we know that we're going to need to send the Guide to Agency Relationships for signatures. We're going to open that up. And we're going to double check to make sure everything is filled in. So you see the broker name, the brokerage, the phone number, and then the agent name is here as well. Looks good. Now we want to be sure that we save it. So to save what we've done on a form, we go to this little file up here, and then it's going to bring up this drop-down box. In order to save it, you're going to go to this icon, looks like a 1980s floppy disk, and you're just going to hit save. Now everything you've done on that form has been saved for that transaction. And now you're just going to hit the back button. If you get lost and can't hit the back button, it's okay. You can go back to your main dashboard. You can open up your transaction again. And now you can go back to forms. You can either access your forms here from this window, or you can go over here to forms. The next one we want to have filled out is agency consent agreement for the buyer. So let's open that up. Now we see that our buyer's name has auto-populated, and it did that because when we created the transaction, we put the buyer's contact in there, and that's great. Now we're going to either fill in the property address, or we're going to have to write to be determined because we don't know the property address. So for now, let's say it's to be determined. We're going to go to this first little box, hover your mouse over it and click, and then you're going to type in TBD for to be determined. Later, when you have a property, you can strike through this, have your buyer initial it, and then fill out the property address here. Now, what we're going to fill out at the beginning is Part A. So now we need to fill in all of these blanks. Now, mine may show it to auto-populate, your computer might not, and that's okay. So I'm going to click on it, and there it is. Mine's going to want to auto-populate it, but I'm just going to type it out. The principal broker being retained. You're going to put your name in for the affiliate agent, and then you're going to put Trellis Real Estate here. Now, if this is the first time you're filling this out, then you're only going to do Part A. And at the time the license is being retained, you're going to be a buyer's agent. Unless you know something different, 99% of the time you're going to be a buyer's agent. Now, there's nothing else on Part A for you to fill out at this time. If you remember, Part B of this same form is to be completed at the time the licensee prepares or submits an offer. Okay, so you do not need to fill out Part B yet, but you want to go ahead and save Part A so your buyer can sign it. So you've got it filled out. You remember you're going to go to this little file at the top, go to the drop down. You're going to scroll down to the little 1980s floppy disk and hit save. Now that's saved to your transaction as well. This time I'm going to just go to the back bar, and it's going to take me back to the transaction. The third thing you need to fill out is going to be the exclusive buyer agency contract. I have already filled this out, but if you were to fill it out, you're just going to go to each space where it needs information and fill all that in, okay? I'm still going to hit save. Every time I go into a document, I always hit save when I leave it. Save. Now we're going to go back to the transaction. This time I'm going to go to your home screen. You're going to find the transaction, open it up. Now you're going to create a signing. Now, if you remember, under contacts, we already loaded the buyer's information. If you have not done this yet, you go to Add, create new transaction contact. And then you're going to go through all this to add all of this information, okay? For now, we have already added this buyer. Here's all their information. Here's how they sign legal documents. So we're going to save that. And now we want to create a signing. So we're going to go to this right-hand side, and you can see where it says dashboard, details, etc. We're going to go down to signings. If it shows up classic or new, go ahead and hit new. And now you're going to add a signing. And we're going to give the signing a name. So since these are the beginning buyer forms, let's call this buyer agency forms. And we're going to hit save. And that's going to open us up a new tab in Authentisign. Okay. It might give you these prompts, and if it does, just pay attention to it. Who's signing? And that's how you're going to add your participants. I'm going to get out of that. Now we're going to go ahead and add our participant. We're going to add from transaction. And you're going to see these are already auto-populated, but down here you're going to find your buyer. You're going to add your buyer. And then if anyone else needs to sign any of these forms, you're going to go ahead and select that person. As it is on the agency contract, the broker needs to sign as well, so you can go ahead and sign that person. And hit select. Now we're going to add our documents or forms. So click this, and it's going to take you to everything you have in this file. You've already filled out and saved a guide to agency relationships, so hit add. You've filled out your agency consent agreement, hit add. And now here's your exclusive buyer agency contract. You're going to add that as well. If that's all you're doing right now, great. You can go ahead and hit close. And you're going to scroll down to see if the signature places are there. So now you need to add where the signer is going to sign. To do that, you go over to Tools, and you're going to choose who's signing. So let's have your client sign first. So you're going to click this little arrow, and it's going to show you everybody who's on the signing. But you want to add your buyer. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to scroll down after reviewing the document. Now we want to put a spot for your buyer to sign right here. You're going to do that by clicking sign here, and it's going to show up, but you can see it's not in the right place, but that's okay. You can hover your mouse over it, click and hold, and then move that into place. We're going to do the same with the date. Click, hold, move it into place. And you can see it wants a date and time, but it didn't automatically populate a time. But that's okay, because we find that down here under signer fields, and we're going to hit auto time. There it is out of place again. Click and hold, bring it over here. Now we're going to scroll down to our next document. We're going to see if it went ahead and populated it, and yes, it did, as it should. So you don't need to do anything here, except you see it's given us a date. It has not given us a time. Click auto time, click hold, and drag it over. One thing you need to watch out for is the system automatically populates signatures sometimes when it shouldn't. So we have not filled out Part B yet because we don't have an offer. But I bet, there it is, that it automatically populated that. So we don't need the signature yet. So we're going to click on the name, click, and then you see this little trash can here. You're going to delete that. You're going to do the same on the date, click, delete. Now scroll down to the agency agreement, agency contract. Now you can see you've got your buyer's initials, date, and the time. And since you selected the buyer's broker, that came up as well, initial date and time. Check to make sure that everything's in each page where it's supposed to be. On this form, under no other agreements, this buyer has to initial that they're not working with any other agents. So you need an initial there. You go over here, you make sure you're on your buyer. You click initials. It's going to show up. Click and hold, drag. Okay, now you're ready to send it all off. So you're going to go up here and you're going to hit next. It's going to finalize your signing and you're ready to go ahead and do it. You can hit send. Wow, now your invitations have been successfully sent. If you want to go back in and see who signed what, you can open up the signing. And it's going to show you who has signed and if it has been approved yet. That's all there is to it. There will be a part 2 that says how to find what you need after it's done, but for now, good job.